Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of Parenting Autism. My name is Sandy Coulter. I'm joined by my hubby, Chris.
Hello, that's me.
And we are here to just continue to share our journey with our cute little guy, Bryce, who is 6.5 and was diagnosed with autism when he was 2.5. If this is your first time finding us, we want to say welcome and thank you for joining us. And if you have just continued to come back and hear more about our story, we thank you so much. And we really, really appreciate everyone that we hear from. And even those who don't let us know that you're listening, but we can see that we have listeners, we thank you. Mm-hmm. And so today is the day after Easter. It's been a couple of weeks since we've recorded. We've had a lot going on here with the COVID-19, as I'm sure many of our listeners have had as well. State of Florida finally got the mandate, so I moved my work office into the home office. Some transitioning there, but all in all, we have not been affected in a bad way. Would you agree with that?
Right. As of now, we're continuing on as if nothing happened, and I want to say that I think being home, it's opened your eyes a little bit to the homeschooling.
And my ears, because I get to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't get to watch a lot because I'm doing my own thing.
Right.
But I am hearing you guys work together, and it's exciting, especially today. I was just telling you, it's a gift that you were already homeschooling him. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't have to go through this major change due to this virus. Illness going on. Right. We had already adapted to that. Mm. So sorry. Hold on a moment. Nope, we're not going to start over. We're going to keep rolling. I just have vocal issues. But anyway, so having said all of that, I was hearing Bryce be so excited today, and he was just saying so loudly in his cute voice, "We did it! We did it at Daddy School today!" Yeah. And he was just so excited, and I could tell he was jumping up and down by the inflections in his voice.
Yeah, so the last thing we ended on today was weights and how some things are heavier than others. And we had gone over this early in the year briefly, and like I told you, sometimes they come back and touch on subjects again, just to hammer it home. So after school today, he was all about finding a scale and weighing things and seeing how much they weighed. So it was just neat to see. And it
was really cool because his enthusiasm about learning was so much so that he wanted to continue to do that. And you gave him the choice. Do you want to continue to do this, or do you want to spend your last few minutes on your iPad before you go to your therapies? Mm-hmm. He chose to continue doing weights. He wanted to weigh his iPad. I'm like, perfect, okay. So, the fact that he's so excited to learn, mm-hmm. and I heard what he said too when he goes, "We did it. We did Daddy School." And Bryce did an awesome job. That was like so cute. He was so excited that he knew he did well because mm-hmm. he passed his test on the screen and all of that. So
he's doing great.
He really, really is. And even through all of these changes that have been going on around us, we had reported last time that Bryce really hadn't had any major changes in his therapies because it's essential service, and you and I have selected to continue to let him do this. Mm-hmm. It's our choice, and we feel like his therapists are not exposed to a point that Bryce should be at high risks, and we felt the gain outweighed the risk with him continuing to do his therapies. So that's been a really great for him. Yeah, because it's just kind of kept him on track. We had a little bit of an issue last week where he had, it might have been a spider bite. It might have been an unknown infection. We don't know what happened, but he had a really large wound. Red bump. We'll say a big wound on his leg. Yeah. Had to get him on an antibiotic and really started treating it aggressively.
He's doing great.
He responded well. He did have to miss a few days of his therapy because of the possibility that he might be contagious. Mm-hmm. But he should be back on track today. And those things are going to happen. At first, I'm like in that panic, but then I, always advise people who are listening to us, don't panic. A few days is not going to make a big difference in the scheme of things. I think I was more upset that Bryce might be upset because it would be one more thing off his calendar, which he loves to look at every day.
Yeah.
But he handled it really well, and he's excited that he'll be back on track today. So
yeah, and I was reading today on Facebook about a lot of families are having trouble during this time because their kids are home now from actual public school or private school, and they're being provided with lessons from the teachers, and they're just being overwhelmed by the amount of work that they're supposed to be doing. And I saw one person comment, basically we're just checking in online to say that we're there, but we're getting absolutely nothing done, so they were really worried about, what's going to happen. And so I chimed in, and, where I see that I can help, I try to help. So I just chimed in and said, look, it's not the end of the world. I was overwhelmed too when I started homeschooling. I just didn't know what to do, where to go, or, that type of thing until I got into a routine. And then once you get into a routine, things get much easier, and you learn that your child's going to learn at their own pace, and focus on what your child is interested in. So I said, if your child's interested in astronauts, you work spelling and math and reading around astronauts, because they're going to pay attention a lot longer to subjects they're interested in. And if you can work around those like that, then do it. The end game is for the child to know the subject at the end of the year, and be able to take a test and prove that they have that knowledge, and you don't necessarily have to get there by one way, if the teacher is
though.
Yeah.
But do you have that flexibility because you're controlling the curriculum? But in a situation like this where they're being presented specific courses that have to be done or tests that have to be taken or homework to be done, do they have that flexibility like what you're describing?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because I don't know if the homework is being graded, if they are being graded on an ongoing basis. But my thing is, let's just say the teacher gives you this PDF of, let's say 300 pages, and they want that done in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you got to spoon feed what you can.
Your child, there's distractions, there's, all kinds of things that can interrupt that. But let's just say if you could get that same subject online on an online curriculum, maybe your child might be more interested in that and take to that easier and learn faster than if you were given a 200-page PDF and say, okay, well, this is what you need to do to put your lesson together. This is what your child's expected to learn in the next, 2 weeks, and you're freaking out because you got all these pressures put on you. But I don't know. I would...
that's the big question. You just got
to take one day at a time.
Your advice is great in the sense that I'm all about spoon feeding, because if you try to do too much too fast, you're going to choke on it, whatever it is. And your advice is also great that if you're able to work with subjects that appeal to your child, you're going to get a lot faster results, and you're going to keep them engaged.
Right.
Because I'm sure a lot of kids work better with a teacher and authority than they do with their parent because they're at home. That was my initial concern with Bryce being homeschooled, was would he adapt to actually learning here and not in a structured environment? In his case, this works perfectly for him, and structured was not the best option. And there may be parents through this whole experience that's going to realize that homeschooling is a better fit for my child, and they had no idea.
Yeah.
But, I am very thankful that in our situation, we really have not been affected very much at all. And I do think it's great that you're there to you've walked in these steps for several months now, so you're able to give some advice, on a broad scale, obviously, on a very broad scale.
What I've heard in the homeschooling community and what I've experienced is that you don't have to start at the crack of dawn in the morning and work until mid-afternoon on schoolwork, because you're not teaching a group of 30 kids that all have different skill sets and are at different levels and need your attention. You have one or however many kids you have their attention. And, Bryce, we can get his work done, I'd say, within 2 or 3 hours during the day. And, and we work other activities after, quote, school, around sometimes what he learns. So he's still building on those skills. So don't, I would not want to be in the shoes if
I know if you're feeling their pain.
I'm feeling their pain.
Yeah.
It's a big shock.
And I think, again, every family is adapting to the situation, and it's not going away anytime soon. So that's the reality of it. I don't think that schools are going to go back in May 1st, which is just now a couple weeks away. I don't see that happening.
I think they're already canceling school.
I'm hearing that. I mean, it's not official where we live in Florida, but I'm hearing that.
I think they'll be lucky to get back in August. I really do.
Right. Yeah. So having said that, I mean, you really do have to start to plan on the long-term scale and to try to catch up during the summer if your kids struggle. I mean, some kids it becomes easier and others they don't. But you'll have that time.
You pointed out a great thing right there is if your child has struggled to the end of this school year, you have all summer to work with them, either with an online program or some other written program to catch them up and maybe even excel.
Because think about it. We won't be doing summer vacations like the norm. Because people can't travel right now, and the theme parks are closed and different things like that. So,
and I was just telling you, Bryce is not having a summer break because A, he doesn't know what a summer break is.
Right.
And B, I think he's going to need those few months to stay ahead of the curve, if you will. I know that there's going to be more difficult subjects coming for him because he's only in kindergarten, and he's probably going to have a difficult time at some point tackling some of those subjects. And I think using those summer months to bounce him ahead is going to be good.
Plus, it keeps him in routine.
Yes.
Keeps his brain working and fresh, and he doesn't need that break. And it's just good to keep it going.
I mean, in the summer, we'll incorporate swimming and, some other outdoor activities.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Along with that. But,
but he'll still have his Monday through Friday, purposes, there will still be a learning time that we call Daddy School.
Yeah.
It's good.
And he loves it. So.
He really does. And I was going to say also, just on this note, we can kind of go away from it. But with Bryce's therapy, he just started the teletherapy for his music. He's had 3 lessons now on that, and the first lesson went, I would say, okay, and I would say that the second lesson Bryce checked out early because it just wasn't keeping his attention, not having his instructor here.
And that's when I reached out to his instructor. I said, hey, I want to get Bryce an instrument so that he can stay engaged after episode 2 of that.
Correct.
And I saw him, okay, let's play the goodbye song. Right?
Yeah, he was wanting it early.
I'm like, okay, well, what can I get him? And he's like, well, you could try a drum or a small demo keyboard or a guitar. He said, but most importantly, ask Bryce what he wants because that's most important, not necessarily the type of instrument, but what Bryce is interested in. So Bryce told me he wanted a guitar, and I asked him, well, do you want an electric guitar or acoustic guitar? And I had to explain it a little. So I brought out my electric and my acoustic guitar, and I said, this is the acoustic guitar, and then the electric guitar plugs in to this little box here, and that's where the sound comes out, the amplifier. And so he wanted me to plug it in so he could hear what it sounded like. And then when I plugged it in, he said he wanted an electric guitar. And I said, okay. So we found one online, a little child-size electric guitar, and we got that for him. And he is loving it.
Yeah, and now you've added music class to Daddy School, and you got free lessons from Fender, right?
Yeah.
For 3 months?
Fender is offering I think it's called fenderplay.com, but the instrument company Fender, they're offering 3 months free right now.
Yeah.
So I'm all over that with myself and with Bryce. So it's great.
Yeah, it's really worked out well. And then God blessed you with the neighbors that down the street that we don't even know. They put 2 acoustic child-sized guitars by the street. I guess they were cleaning out. So it was there for the trash pickup.
I don't know if they were moving or what.
Yeah, and they're in great condition. They just needed strings and tuning.
They had some strings off of them. They were tuned all goofy. So I think it was one of them things where the child tried it for a while, but they just weren't interested in it. So there was 2 of them. So I brought one and I tuned it up, polished it up, and I took the other one, I put strings on it, and I gave it to Harmony Hope Stables, which is our equine therapy center. And so they're going to use it in combination with their equine therapy sessions. And it's terrific.
That's really cool. And when Bryce got to go to his therapy session actually at the ranch on Friday, which was his first time in a few weeks. We had our masks, but we went, and he was so excited to actually take his guitar and participate for the first time. He was so cute.
Strumming.
He goes, "Daddy, give me my pick."
He was strumming away.
He was. So we have seen this child come so far in the last few months since we started his music therapies, to where when we first started this, he wouldn't let you and I touch one and play.
Yeah.
And even at the Harmony Hope stable, he would not let Miss Christie play. He would only let the horse pluck it with his teeth. He thought that was funny. But other than that, he was very scared of the sound of the live instruments. And now he'll let me play the piano. He will let you play guitar. He will ask for you to play guitar. And now he wants to kind of play along with you. So we've seen his anxiety come down a lot, which was one of our main goals with both the equine and music therapy. So all of that has been really, really good. And I did just want to say that this Saturday, when he had his lesson online, he stayed engaged the entire hour. And it was a world of difference. So I'm saying that too for those who maybe are working from home or doing teletherapy for the first time as well. Just kind of stick with it, but think about what you can do to keep them engaged, because by you going afterwards on the side and saying, "Hey, what can we do to keep him more engaged?" By having something there for him to actually have in his hands and participate with made a big difference. And whether it's, language or OT or whatever the therapy may be that you're doing online.
Just ask the therapist. They'll have some ideas.
Think of a plan that, can keep the child more engaged. So I thought that was good. And then we'll segue there because you brought up guitar. And I thought today we would just kind of talk about things that we've been doing recently to kind of decrease our own anxiety, I guess we could say. And also to just kind of take a little more self-care. And you picking up your guitar and taking these lessons, because you're self-taught and you're actually a very good guitar player. And if you don't know, the guitar that you hear when you hear our intro on this podcast is Chris playing. It's one of his songs. And so, you're a very talented musician, but you taught yourself, so you really didn't know the basics.
I didn't know what notes were or measures.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me, and I'm like, really?
Things.
I know, because I did take basic piano, but then somebody taught me chords, and that's when I was like able to play at a level that I couldn't before, because I'm not classically trained, but I knew all the notes and all of that, especially from choir and piano. But I didn't know you didn't even know like a quarter note or a half note, and I'm like, wow.
I just play by ear,
Yeah, so this is really cool that you're getting to do this along with Bryce.
Yeah.
And it's also a really great stress reliever for you, because I know you miss playing in a band.
Yeah.
And it's not like you did played in bars and stuff like that.
Right.
You guys really just went to your drummer's house, because obviously it was easier to take your equipment to his place than him to tote it around. I always called it guys, guitars, and gossip, because I felt like you guys just got together. You would play and jam your songs, and then you would sit around and talk and play some more and come back. And I know you just miss all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're bringing your guitars back out and playing on them. And I think Bryce has kind of inspired that a little bit.
Yeah, he has. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's kind of inspiring me to sit at the piano more because that is a de-stressor for me. I have my own anxiety issues with playing. Like, I don't even like to play in front of you, but yeah, you know, I think, but it's good when I get to do that. So I think that's one way that we're trying to go back and find bits and pieces of ourselves that have been lost along this journey now that we can. And I think all parents at some point need to be able to go back and find those things that they once enjoyed.
Those hobbies that they enjoyed.
Like I used to enjoy reading books, you know, and I still enjoy reading, but when do I really get a chance to do that?
It's time, right?
It's time. And when do I have that time where my mind can really go there? But I have, like, when I traveled, I was able to do it on a plane or even watch movies. I used to watch movies all the time and go to the theater every week with one of my best friends. And I don't know, maybe my tastes have changed. So I can't find any movie that I really like at the theater. It's rare that we find one that we actually like. I think we may go more often if there was something that appealed to us, but there's not that many. But we did just get Disney Plus, so I have been going back and trying to watch some stuff with Bryce. So I watched Toy Story, you know, like going back to some of the old ones and The Incredibles, and
he likes Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
and
you know, and he doesn't take to it immediately because he's not a kid that just sits there and watches videos over and over again. But I just want to keep introducing him to it. It's relaxing and enjoyable for me. And then, you know, to be able to share that with him, it's kind of like you and the music with him. You know, it's good if we can kind of bring him along with us and we can relax. Like I even made it Saturday like it was a matinee because I'm still working Monday to Friday. And Saturday we usually have ABA and then we have something in the afternoon
session.
And something. Yeah, photography and that's all shut down. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to put it on the calendar as I would if we were going to the theater. And I told him at 2:30 we were going to have a matinee movie. And I popped some popcorn and put it in the bowl and just put our movie on and watched it in the afternoon with no guilt, you know, and that's the key. No guilt. I'm allowed to take a couple hours and disconnect and think about things that are fun and things that just make you happy and you know, it don't have to do with autism, don't have to do with COVID-19, don't have to do with anything that's troublesome, you know, in this world right now. But it was also Easter weekend, and it's not easy to stay focused on the real meaning behind Easter. And for us, we're people of faith. So, you know, it's like our Super Bowl day, you know, where we're celebrating the resurrection of Jesus, which that's really what we want Bryce to know most about. He doesn't even know about the eggs and the Easter bunny and all of that. He just doesn't, you know, and we haven't really brought that to him. He's had Easter baskets in the past, but we've really tried to make it more about church and the cross. In fact, I was just telling you today, I would like to incorporate something where there's something fun in it, like we do with Christmas, but maybe we'll make cross cookies and then we can decorate them and he could bake because he likes baking and, you know, but still tell the story of Jesus. And there's nothing wrong with hiding eggs. Actually, I was going to do it. Hide some eggs for him in the backyard or something because I was feeling a little bit of mom guilt about that. But then I'm like, no, he really doesn't know. And then when he went to therapy last week, they said, oh, we're hunting eggs today. And I'm like, great. Okay. So they did that. And when he got done and I picked him up, I asked him about it and he didn't say one, like, it didn't make any impression upon him. So I thought, okay, he had the experience with them. There's no need for me to go and do all of that.
And what are you going to put in the eggs?
Well, I thought about that. So I'm thinking for Bryce, because he can't eat candy and he can't eat chocolate because of his dairy allergy. Last year I put money in there because he was just starting to understand money, you know, and it sounds good when you shake it. But I was thinking we could do like what we do with his advent calendar at Christmas time. And we have a little paper in there that tells him a fun thing that he gets to do that day. That's kind of like a reinforcer. So I think that's what we'll do next year is give him like a whole, like a week full of reinforcer of fun things that he gets to do. So I think that will be our tradition going into next year when it's not so crazy as it has been this year. But, we were able to watch the church service. Actually, I watched the Good Friday service on Saturday, so it was Good Saturday for me. And I just really wanted to keep my mind there, because it's so easy to get distracted right now.
Especially at home.
Oh,
if you go to church, you're focused.
Well, you're there and you're focused. But when you're here, you really do have to make that point of sitting down and watching and listening, and letting yourself immerse into the message of the songs and the message, that the pastor's delivering. So it was good. I'm really glad that we had that, and we had a nice Easter dinner. Thank you to our chef, Chris. And you made us a nice pot roast. So, it was good. We had a really nice weekend, a nice day. I am missing going to church. And I know church is not the building, but there's something about when you go to the house of God where you feel the energy and the happiness of all the other fellow believers that are there. And when you're singing together in one loud chorus and the Holy Spirit's there, it is different than when you're at home, trying to get your praise on and all that. But, we'll all be back there soon. And I think we'll just have like that bigger, better, deeper appreciation for all of those things. So you and I have been trying to just reconnect with parts of ourselves, and we each got a massage recently. There was a great Groupon. Gotta love the Groupons, and it was a good place. Sometimes that can be risky because I've heard of people that buy Groupons and then the place goes out of business and you never get your service.
You got yours, and then I was like, I better get mine before they close because of the virus. So I got in like the following week. I think
the following week, you got in on Friday and they closed the next week.
So I was very thankful for that.
Yeah, but, we do like that thing. We do like massages. It's very distressing for both of us, which is a good thing. But we're finding other ways to do that.
I think being home during this time is going to be good for a lot of families. I understand that in the news that domestic violence is up, so it may not be good for other families, but for us, it's a good time to step back and reflect on everything.
It's all about perspective. So much about perspective. And I find like Bryce still wants to ride his bike, which is great. And so we found an empty parking lot that we can take him to, because our street, it's kind of busy. Busy enough that it makes me nervous.
Busy enough.
Till we get him on a back street. So I have found it to be easier for us to just pack him up and let him ride around the parking lot. And then you and I can do our little walk. We do it, close to sunset, and it's peaceful out. And there's not traffic going on there. So,
not a lot.
You do find a lot of solitude when you're not around crowds. And, I know this is an introvert's dream right now. It's this social distancing. But I mean, I'm there. Obviously, I enjoy being around some people and some events and stuff. But I also do find a lot of solitude in quiet settings and just being with you guys and enjoying our time together. And, I still get to take my hot baths, which is my number one de-stressor. Yes, it is. But, we're just finding other ways. And I probably, I don't know, I feel like there's more ways to find, but I think the music is a big one that we're reconnecting with, and
I've been doing some hikes. Our Appalachian Trail trip is coming up in May at Memorial Day weekend, and right now the trail's pretty much shut down, and I'm hoping it'll open up by then so that we can do that, getting together with some high school buddies, and I was really looking forward to that, but we'll see.
Well, what was your other thing that you recently, you're very...
Fishing.
That's it. I was going to say, you're very good at picking up new things to try to do to relax yourself.
Yeah.
So how's that fishing going for you there, Coulter?
Well, all the fishing places are closed now, so not too great, so it will be relaxing at some point. I guess I can cast a line in the backyard.
Seriously, though, can you go over to that pond that's off of Tulip?
I don't know.
I mean, because that's not a park.
I am so new to fishing. Like, if I was ever to go fishing before, I would go with a friend of mine, and they would provide whatever lure or bait, and I would just throw the line in the water. But But now being in Florida, I got to figure out, okay, what lures, what fish am I catching? Am I able to keep them? How long do they need to be able to be kept? Where can I fish?
You do have a friend, though, that fishes that often. You got one lined up when you're able to
when all this
join
is over,
him again.
so
yeah,
he'll get
but
me
that'll
in
be
the
good
crew.
for you, and that's really what I'm pointing. I know I kind of joke because you've had bonsai trees,
I've tried.
I don't know. You try a lot of different things to kind of find that inner peace, and I
don't really have a
applaud you on
green thumb. I like plants and flowers and those types of things, but they don't like me very much.
I don't know. Our yard looks really nice. I think you've done a great job with it.
That's a lot of trial and error.
So what I guess I'm saying is, be more like Chris and less like me, and just keep trying different things that will relax you.
Yep.
Maybe I'm just too cheap with my money to do that. I don't even do retail therapy anymore. Like I used to shop. I don't have the joy in that like I used to. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe that's just with age and with life and with experience.
Well, you're kind of
different things now.
You have your set patterns. So you have like these handful of things that you like that you don't deviate from. So it's like when you go to a restaurant, you order the meal that
that's true.
You're probably going to like.
Because I would be disappointed if I ordered something new and then I didn't like it and I spent money on that and then I'm still hungry.
For me, I go to the restaurant, I ask the waitress what are they known for, what's most popular on the menu.
Yes.
And then I consider that as my meal when I'm looking over everything. And a lot of times I'll get it and I'll either like it or I won't. And then I'll check that box.
Yeah.
But for you, like, you might try something like Sudoku puzzles or, think outside of...
I am playing my games again on my phone. Good point. I started playing... I love Boggle. I'm a big words person. Yeah. So I've been playing that as a distressor with my friend in Tennessee, so it kind of keeps us connected.
There you go.
Thank you. That is another. But you're right. You are a lot more adventurous in that way, and you will try new things more than I will.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're inside the box, and I open the flap of the box, and I look out.
Hey, I have holes in my box. I do peek out. And I might even put my finger out there and wave it and test the wind, but I don't jump out as quickly as you do. But, I watch you go take your walks and then come back. I'll be like, how was it out there? And you tell me. So, yeah, so it's good. But, everything is going well here with us. And Bryce is doing really great. We got his new ABA plan. And I think we had mentioned that the last time because I was saying that for the first time it ended on a positive note and not with tears where I wanted to hurt myself because, I felt like such a failure as a mom. But no, this time it was good. I'm excited that we have new things that we're going to be working on, which now that'll get to start effective today, actually. And, some of those things I jotted down. Hold on. I have 50-year-old eyes and I need my glasses. I can't read anymore. Okay, so I think we had mentioned before we're going to start doing chores with him.
Yes.
And we have the Dave Ramsey for Kids plan. So we're going to introduce that, which I think he's going to really take to that. And then we also had them add to his plan. We wanted to incorporate time because he's so much about the clocks and stuff. Telling time, which if we use it as a way to help him with his schedules, then it falls within the lines of the behavior. And I was even saying today, because I was listening to you guys with school, and you were telling him, you were going to start at a certain time. And I said, well, maybe you should put that on a visual clock for him so that he can see that. And then he'll know that at that time, that's when school's going to start. Gives him enough preparation time, because we know with Bryce, the more you can prepare him for something and the more he feels like he has some control and choice in it, the more compliant he is and the less anxiety.
Yeah, and that worked out good this morning. Yeah,
it did. So that was cool. And then we're going to be working on him accepting the word no in a better way. Waiting for attention.
Being patient.
Excuse me. Yeah, because I just said excuse me, but that's what Bryce says all the time.
Yeah.
He always says, excuse me. Excuse me. Even if we're not, we taught him to do that so he wouldn't interrupt. But now it's just,
now he's figured.
He'll say it over and over and over and not wait for attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also working with him on greetings because Bryce will not, on his own, say hi or bye. He still requires a lot of prompting on that. So we're just going to work on that some more. He's pretty well mastered getting dressed, but, stuff we're still working on there. And then the initiating socialization with his peers, which that's been sidelined with COVID-19.
Until this is
but,
over, yeah.
So that's the stuff we're working on. But I'm very excited that we're going to have this new plan in place for him and to see how his growth does, on this next level of his journey.
We're thankful to have ABA at this point,
Oh, we're so grateful.
It's
and
much
like I said,
needed.
I know I had my little, I won't call it a rant, but I unloaded a few weeks ago just about the frustrations of, oh my gosh, he won't perform on demand. But then I followed up on the next episode saying, oh, he performed for them. So they really saw there are a lot of needs that Bryce still has.
Yeah.
And that was really where my frustration was I felt like they weren't seeing what we were seeing. And then how are we supposed to prove all of this when we see so many needs?
Thankfully, their schedule changed where they're coming later in the day now where they can see more.
And that has happened. He's here at dinner time now. His ABA tech is here at dinner time. And that's actually been great because she's been working on phasing him away from his iPad during dinner so that he can focus more on his meal.
Yeah, he feels like he needs that in order to eat. So we're phasing him out of that.
He has a lot of quirky thoughts with dinner.
Does.
He also thinks we're racing. So
to eat,
he thinks he's racing me for dinner all the time. And then if I'm about to clean and I do eat quickly, but, but then he really gets upset and that's a problem. But I figure we'll cross that bridge with her after we get the iPad phased out.
Is he watched Cars with Lightning McQueen, and then after that, racing was a thing.
I guess. So now everything's a race. If we're walking, if we're, eating is one that just comes to mind because I'm not paying attention to it. I know, right? But he's got to learn about winning and losing, and that's something we're still working on with him. But we're very, very grateful to have these services in place to help him. So I have one last little cute story I was going to share, and then we can wrap up unless you have something.
Okay.
I know we got to go get him from therapy. That's why it's quiet today, people. He's at therapy.
Yeah.
We tried this yesterday, and it did not go well.
No.
But anyway... So with the whole COVID-19, we usually visit my parents who live locally once a week. And so Bryce, he's really close to Mama and Papa because he gets to see them all the time. And that's why we take him once a week because quite honestly, if he doesn't see somebody all the time, he forgets them easily, which is kind of sad, but it's true. It's just the way he's wired. But he knows Mama and Papa, and he loves them very much, and he enjoys going over and staying with them while we go out and doing certain things. And one of the things he loves to do with Mama is laundry. And the other thing he enjoys at their house is that they have clocks on the wall that ding on the hour.
Yes.
So he has been doing FaceTime with her to do laundry and to see the clocks.
Yes.
So at first, the laundry I don't have a problem with because that's not a daily thing. And she's been able to tell him, like once a week now she's doing, like they got to do it today again and he was thrilled. And I actually posted the video on our Parenting Autism Facebook page because it's so sweet to just show how Mom has that patience with him and will take that time with him to let him choose all the settings on the washer and, talk her through all the steps with the detergent and their smell goods and, all their little routine that they have. It's really sweet. And she's a wonderful, wonderful grandmother for him. God love her. And, so that's been really cute. Now the clock thing, the first time that he called and he, wanted to tour the house and he wanted to see all 3 clocks, it was cute. But then it's become a little less cute because he really now will almost be in a panic that he has to go call her so that he can FaceTime her.
If he looks at the clock
at the top of the hour.
And it's close to the top of the hour.
We haven't had meltdowns, which is good because he's actually Like he missed it one time because he stayed in the bathtub too long.
And he did really well yesterday when she was out for a walk.
Yes.
So she's like, I'm out for a walk, Bryce, now, but we can check it when it comes to 6 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah, she gave him like the next hour,
next
whatever
hour.
that was.
And he was really okay with that, which I was
has-
very thankful.
Me too, because this could turn into one of those, meltdowns because he's disappointed. But it's also one of those things that honestly, if we let him, he would call her literally every hour.
Yes.
And we can't do that.
Right.
So we're giving him, as with all things that he gets very
Maybe once in the
passionate
morning,
about.
once in the evening.
He gets 3 calls a day.
Okay, yep.
It's the most.
Yeah.
And we don't even encourage that. We just say, we just kind of,
Yeah.
time it out. But it is really sweet, and I'm glad that he gets to keep that connection. And her batteries had died on one of the clocks in the bedroom. So she told him that she had to get batteries for it, and he told her she needed to take it to the clock doctor to get it fixed. So she went and she got batteries for it, and she thought it wasn't working for whatever reason. And she also has this teddy bear that plays this crazy song that he loves to hear. So they have their little routine.
Yep.
Well, then after the bear, the clock went off. So he was so excited about that, jumping up and down. And he must have told us that for the next hour that followed, how the clock went off.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So it's just really sweet stuff that, you know what? When you're given lemons, like what we've received with all these changes, and you can't visit the people that you love in person, you make lemonade out of it, which are still very sweet moments. And that's what I just want to encourage everybody to do is like just find your own ways of squeezing some lemonade out of the lemons you've been given, because there are ways that you can still stay connected,
Yep.
have special memories. And this will be special memories. I mean, I'm taking pictures of this going on so I can put it in a scrapbook so I remember these things later, because I'll remember that the pandemic happened. I'm not going to ever forget that in my lifetime. But I may not remember all the little blessings and the little,
Right.
Sweet things that have come from it.
Yep. Try to turn off the news and look for the positives.
Yes, that's our message for the day. So on that note, anything else, babe?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. You're caught up with the Coulter Hotel. We hope that you all have a great day, and whatever you're doing, may the Lord's light shine upon you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Amen.
Okay,
Until
bye.
next time. Bye.
Bye.